right. Here we go. One more video for today. Glad you're here with me. I have another question that I came up with that I want to talk about. And I love this question also. It's really great. It says, how do you help your children get along? That's a very excellent question. How do we help our children get along? Do your kids argue? Do you get tired of it? Are they arguing in the backseat of the car when you're driving and you just want to pull over and pull everybody's hair out? Yeah, me too. I've been there. So I'm going to teach you 4 steps that I do in my home to help everybody get along. The first thing is I have a family expectation about how we treat each other. And this is really important because it sets the tone for everything else. So in my house, we have a family expectation that we treat each other kindly. We treat each other with respect. We honor each other's person. We honor each other's feelings. We honor each other's personal space. And I do not allow them to bicker all the time. And sometimes it really is just having a position as a parent that, what do you allow in your home? So I do not allow my kids to swear at each other or yell at each other. They cannot yell at me. They cannot swear at me. They can't tell me what to do. If they're in a bad mood or they're frustrated or they need to get something off of their chest, then what I have done over the years is I teach them communication skills. So we're going to get practical here. I'm going to talk about my middle child. He, let's just say he's really frustrated at the older brother, and he's just I've got so much angst that, something hurt his feelings or really bothered him, and he just wants to go and punch him in the face because they're boys and they like to do stuff like that. So, he'll come to me and just be like, Mom, I'm just, you can see the veins in his neck popping out. Right? He's so mad. I can't do it. Can I do it? No, I can't. Anyways, so he could just be like, I'm so frustrated. I can't even talk. I'm just so mad at this other person in the family. I won't even say their name because I'm that mad, right? And so we just now know how to do this, but we're like, yeah, okay, there's a problem. We need to address the problem. And so we will sit down if we can right then and there. If I'm busy, because I often am as a mom, I'll be like, I see your frustration. Take some time to yourself. Go have some personal space, and I need to finish what I'm doing. Let's regroup and talk in an hour. You can do that when they're older because that also helps them know that they can start to control themselves and their own feelings, and we don't always have to have an immediate outlet for our frustrations. And so you can work with them on timing and when to sit down and hash it out. And if my kids are that angry at each other, then yeah, they can come talk to me about it, and we'll talk about the situation first and help brainstorm about what to do and how to approach their brother. I will talk to my middle son and say, hey, after he's let it out and he's gotten things off of his chest and he's telling me why he's so upset, then I'll be like, yeah, okay, I hear you. That's not cool that your brother did that. What do you want to do about it? And we work through and we talk through the communication. We talk through, how are you going to say this to him that's nice, respectful, and he'll practice it. We'll sit down. We will literally role play sometimes. And we do this even with conflict outside of our home. We will role play together how that conversation might go. That repetition equips your child. You are teaching them a valuable skill about how to communicate. And so, okay, cool. We're going to bring in older brother. And guess what? We all going to have another discussion about what's going on. And this is where brother to brother, they get to talk. But we have an environment and an expectation in our home where we're not yelling at each other. We're not screaming at each other. We are taking deep breaths and having some self-awareness so that we can control our own bodies and our own minds. And communicate in a way that's productive. So I teach them how to literally talk to each other and how to communicate with each other and how to sit down and hear each other out. And we, have expectations that if you're wrong, you need to apologize. You need to acknowledge, I'm wrong. That was wrong of me, whether it was intended or not. Like, there has to be some reconciliation and acknowledgement that comes forth when there is an offense that's made. And so as a parent, I just have a high expectation of how we treat each other in our home. Now, there are times where we don't have time to sit down every single time that someone's got an offense they've got to work through. And frankly, that would be exhausting, right? So because of our expectation though, we do practice it. We practice it pretty regularly. And there are a lot of times where they don't need my help anymore. They can actually do it on their own and converse and talk about, the offense that's happened or the frustration that's happened and work through it. And that's a beautiful thing. When you're teaching your kids something from a young age or earlier on and you're working with them all the way up and all the way through, they know the expectation in my house and they apply themselves to learning. And they also apply themselves to learning it because once they were, 8, 9, 10 years old, when things really started sinking in, they see that it works. And when something works, you actually are attracted to it. So they want to continue to work together because it really does produce a better outcome. And they are old enough now where they've experienced it enough where they want that. Now they're still human. I'm still human. We definitely have moments where we don't really want to be nice, but we also know the expectation in the house and it just won't fly. Okay, number 2, I actually already touched on this. I sit down and I teach them communication skills. This is so vital. Like, one, if you want your kid to talk to you, if you want to have deep, meaningful conversations, if you want to have conflict resolution, if you want to actually talk about the things that are on their heart and on their mind and where they want to go in their life and the dreams and the aspirations and the goals and the really juicy stuff about life, you have to have a foundation of communication skills. So maybe I'll do another video on this because there are some really great skills out there that I have taught my kids how to do, but I'm not going to take the time to go into that right now. I think I will. I'll do that on the next video so you can watch for that. But if you want a quick reference, just Google it. What are communication skills? How do you have a conversation using communication skills with another human being? And there are, I think, like 4 or 5 main points that are really, really good. And practice those things together. And when you practice and practice and practice and practice, you form habits. And when you form habits, then you just do it. And then when you just do it, oh my gosh, your home is so much more peaceful. It's wonderful. And it's not about being perfect because we certainly are not. We still argue. I got mad at one of my sons earlier today and I was really mad. So I let him know, but I let him know in a way where I wasn't yelling at him. I wasn't swearing at him. I talked firmly but kindly and I told him what needed to be said and he received it. He didn't like what I had to say. I think he got kind of peeved at me, but that's okay. I'm still the mom and I can say that when I need to. But I still use good communication skills. And that is so vital for your kids. So dive into that. That is step number 2 on how to help your kids get along. Step number 3, I teach my kids about honoring themselves. So they are their own person. I respect them as their own person. If they need space to just go think and not be around people, we honor that. Sometimes we don't always have that luxury, especially if we got to all get in the car and go somewhere. So there are times where we have to work through some different things or different ideas. But generally, if they need something, I give it to them because when I need something, I want them to give me time. There are times I say, hey, I'm going to my room. Mom needs a timeout. Mom needs a break or mom needs a moment, right? And I'll just say that, hey, I'm going to go to my room for a half hour. Don't knock on my door. I just need some space, please. And they're like, okay, sure. No problem, Mom. And so when I treat them like their own person, then they start to take responsibility for themselves. And that is just a really great way for them to learn how to control their emotions, learn how to control their thoughts, learn how to control their mouth so they're not just spewing out. And that's what happens, right? When we get upset, we become sarcastic, we make digs, we yell, we swear, we, get mad, we kick the dog. With, it's the progression of getting mad. I'm mad, so I'm going to take it out on somebody else. And so when a child feels honored in who they are, they start to want to have some of that autonomy. And we talk about that and we work on that with each other, and we honor that space in each other. And that also, I think, reverts back to the first thing that I said about having an expectation. Like, I mean, we can joke and have fun, and there's definitely some sarcasm, but I don't put up with a lot of that because it's a secondary way of communicating that is actually really not helpful. So I would encourage you to keep the sarcasm under control, because really, if you have a lot of sarcasm, what it means is that you have underlying issues that haven't been communicated and haven't been talked about, and people are frustrated and trying to have an outlet. That's what sarcasm is. That's a side note and a little extra blurb in this video, but I should do another video on sarcasm too. Okay, number 4. We have a family culture of supporting each other. And I touched on this in an earlier video, but that's a really strong thing. So if my kids are butting heads and arguing a lot, I will, as the mom, sometimes sit down, hey, family huddle. Everybody just stop what you're doing. Let's go sit in the living room. Obviously, we have a lot of tension going on, and we just need to figure out what's going on so we can get back to a place of peace. And because we practice this, we have gotten better at it, and it doesn't always have to be a super long conversation. We can get to the bottom of things fairly quickly if we need to. And so it's a way of bringing connection. When you have a standard in your home that you treat each other nicely, you talk nicely to each other, you work together through conflict, and you support each other in life, you've got the recipe for a beautiful, peaceful home where love can thrive, connection happens organically, a conflict is reduced, and you have a place where you belong and you want to belong to it. Your kids want to belong somewhere. And if you're doing these things, you're going to give them an environment where they go, I feel in like the core of my being, this is a place where I belong. And that reinforces the bond that you're creating with them. And it reinforces the influence that you will have on their life. And it reinforces the connection that, especially as they enter into adulthood and go and do amazing things and leave the house and spread their wings and all the things that they should do, they still want you to be a part because you have laid this foundation of trust and of safety and of family and of supporting each other. And so I hope this video finds you well. I look forward to sharing more with you in the next video. Take care.